In this training, we will cover the mass copy feature of new contract. We will cover mass copying contracts, modifying them, and activating them. To begin, under the processing menu, go to new contracts. We'll click on the middle tab, mass copy compensations. From here, you have a few options you can choose. If you want only job status of active, inactive, or active and inactive. You can also decide to include archived employees. And you also have an include compensations active of a certain date. In our example today, I will be mass copying the employees in the pay group 260 July 1st admin. So I'm going to select those and move them over to the right side. From here, I can scroll down and see who all pulled in. And I can see some basic information about those people and their positions. I'm going to add in my contract start and stop dates for this new contract. Since these are 260 July 1 employees, I'm going to use 7/1/2022. And for the stop date, it's 30/2023. The system will notify you of how many compensations are currently selected to be built. And I'll click on Build New Contracts. I'll get an informational message here letting me know that 4 compensations are copied into new contracts. So we'll click on the first tab, the New Contract Maintenance tab. From here, we can review those 4 contracts that we copied. We'll take a look at them. You can come in here, and this would have copied whatever amount was on the old contract. So for this employee, let's say they got a raise to $9,000 a year. We'll increase the contract amount and contract obligation. As you can see, there's no contract workdays currently. The calendar that pulled over is an old one. I set up a new one that we're going to use called test. Once I have that job calendar selected that you're going to use and any updates to the contract amount, you want to scroll to the top, click on calculate. That's going to update your contract workdays, pay per period, and unit amount. It'll give you an informational message here. You can just click off of it. So we can see now that this employee has 261 contract workdays based on how I set that calendar up. We can review the pay per period and the unit amount. If you make any changes to any of those fields, make sure to hit calculate. If we want to add a description in there or a label or something, we certainly can. Once you're happy with what is on this new contract, and I'll take 1 minute to make a note here. It is very important for ODJFS reporting that you have under historical context, you have a calendar start date that should pull over from your old contract. If you do not have it, make sure to put that in, and that is the first day that employee worked in that position. So just a quick note on that. So right now I'm happy with how we have Katie Fry set up. Her contract work days look good. Her unit amount and pay per period look good. I'm going to click save. One of the other options you have is you can clear everything out. That way you need to plug in the right contract amount and contract obligation. That way you don't accidentally leave the old amount in there. So you do have that option to clear at the top. We'll also change this employee to test on the job calendar. And enter a contract amount for this employee and contract obligation. We'll click calculate. The system will then calculate the unit amount and pay per period. If for some reason you disagree with those numbers, you can always manually change those. So for example, if I want this person's pay per period to be $384.70, I can manually plug that in. When you manually plug that in, that is going to override the calculation unless I were to go to the top again and hit calculate. If I went and click calculate again, it's going to correct that amount to what the system determines is appropriate. But if you decide you want it different, you can manually override by changing the numbers and clicking save. So I'm happy with this person. I can click save. Um, I can go through and do all of these individually. Um, I can work on these when I have time. So, right now I'm happy with Katie Fry and Antonio Copeland. I can select those two and I can click activate. You have an option here if you want to transfer the primary compensation plan to the new compensation. That's an optional field that some districts use. It lets you know which compensation is actively being paid on. It's handy for running reports. Completely optional if you want to use it. So you can leave that checked or uncheck it. Click activate. You'll receive an informational message if those contracts were activated, or if something went wrong, you'll receive an error message. So we can see that those two contracts are no longer new contract maintenance. If we went out to those employees' dashboards, we would see those new contracts sitting out there. You can build new contracts anytime you want, because the redesign is very date driven. It doesn't matter if you build, your new contracts 3 months in advance, 5 months in advance, even more. Because it's date driven, it can sit out there. You don't have to worry about the issues we had in Classic with, when should I purge? That's no longer an issue. Let's say you copied somebody over here, and for whatever reason, maybe that person left, maybe they're retired. But that compensation is sitting in new contract maintenance. To get rid of it, all we have to do is select it. We can click here if we just want to delete one. If we want to delete both of these, we can select them, then click the delete button here. And that will delete them out of new contract. So that is very simple. If you have any questions, feel free to put a ticket into FStaffR. Thank you and have a good day.